To your relief, the Germans don't seem to be in any more of a fighting mood than you and young Perkins. Or if they are, they're fighting somewhere else. They're always shooting somewhere, aren't they? Perkins had asked. Instead, you catch the telltale signs of an Allied advance towards your position. The day's light helps you see where your battalion is located. You can tell, even though the men are taking care to keep their heads down and out of the sniper's sights, that the troops are getting ready to come up over the top. When you turn back to where the Germans presumably are, there is no such activity going on. It's not clear they're there at all. Fritz might have pulled back, you say to young Perkins. I think this is going to be a... You catch yourself. You were about to say, a walk in the park. Only no sooner did the phrase reach your lips than the image of what the first day's assault appeared in your mind. Suddenly, you see wave upon wave of healthy young men cut down in seconds, their wives taken from them mercilessly, their final moments in this life marked by panic and pain. A what, Calvin? Young Perkins asks. You think it's going to be a what? A lucky day for us, you answer. Knock on wood. With any luck, we'll be alright, God willing. Young Perkins nods. I like the sound of that. Then he pauses for a second, seemingly to collect his thoughts, before speaking up again. Listen, Calvin, I've been thinking a lot about this mess we're in, and I've been meaning to ask you something. What makes you so sure you won't die for your country? Isn't it all up to fate? It's a surprisingly serious question, and you weren't immediately prepared to answer it, so you think for a second. Before you can speak, young Perkins cuts you off with a shout. I see some Tommies coming, he says excitedly. Just past that burned-out tank. A whole platoon at least. He starts to gather up his things, happily looking forward to your coming rescue. In his rush, he's forgotten about his question entirely. You, however, haven't. How did you react to this question? What did you think of it? Something I would have asked a veteran. Something I would have never asked a veteran. Not something I care about one way or another. I think we have actually asked this in the beginning of our way here, so something I would have asked. The question young Perkins asked you is, of course, the same one you asked Perkins on the train. Ha! I knew it. You can keep your answer to yourself, because the Green Private with you is instead concentrating entirely on his hoped-for rescuers. He points to where he saw the advancing Tommies, and you immediately start gazing over that way. Soon enough, you see them too. Only there's something strange about their appearance. You recognize at least two of them, but at least one of the men in the platoon shouldn't be there. You already saw him die. What? Instantly, you understand what you're looking at. Leading the platoon is another Tommy you've seen before, the Ghost. The Ghost and the soldiers right behind him wave at the two of you happily, almost as though they're out for a Sunday stroll. Too far away to speak clearly, the strong wind and fractured terrain make long-range conversation impossible. They're clearly motioning you to come and join them. Who are they? Young Perkins asked, seeing them wave. Do you know them? Yes, you do. The Tommy in front is a Ghost, you answer matter-of-factly. The man behind him is my former stretcher-bearer comrade, Morgan, an Irish conscientious objector of all things but a lovely fellow. Maybe he can help us, young Perkins says, missing the bit about the Ghost and clearly not comprehending. If a stretcher-bearer can simply walk about like that, then how dangerous could it be? On the contrary, you say, his presence here might mean things are very dangerous. You see, Morgan is dead. A well-placed Bosch bomb made quick work of him. I know because I was there. You look more closely. Morgan doesn't look quite right, but he doesn't look that bad either. There's something pleasant about him, almost as though he's at peace. Calvin, he finally says to you, what a lovely sight for sore eyes. And they are very sore indeed, if you catch my drift. Young Perkins recalls in appalled surprise. The Ghost, meanwhile, turns to you and begins to speak. We're not here for him, he says through his skull-like smile, nodding over at the Green Private. We've come for you. Join us if you want to pull this all behind you. You don't have to be tired anymore. You don't have to be frightened. Come with us and put the fighting to bed. His outstretched arm extends your way, his open hand beckoning you to let him lead you to something better? Do you join him? No. A wise move. There can be no good reason to join a ghost and a dead man beckoning you on a battlefield, no matter who they appear to be. Thousands of years of societal imprinting have taught you that. The phantoms don't seem to take it personally. Morgan waves at you as you walk away, and you hear the ghost give you a parting thought. When it's your time, you'll know. If you want to stay in this hellish place, then who am I to stop you? I don't actually kill people, you know, and rather offer them a chance to choose their fate themselves. Good luck to you. And to you, you reply, wondering whether you've just said something asinine or sweet. Unbelievably, the ghost simply leaves you there. Nobody tries to kill you, nobody comes to menace or harass you. Instead, you're allowed to wait and hope for a morning rescue, which comes from an advance patrol that reaches your position quickly and easily. Late morning, and you're resting in the back of a support trench, a cup of coffee in your hand, while men from other battalions march past you and up into the forward lines. They're kicking up dirt as they go. The sun is out, and it is unseasonably warm. Your unit is going to be rotated to the rear again. The lawyer captain shows up, 2 lieutenants at his side, and he sits down to have a quick chat with you and some of the other men who survived the battle. A debrief, if you will, though that word hasn't been invented yet. You seem to have acquitted yourself well today, the captain says. Considering you're a stretcher bearer, one never knows where the fighting men will come from. I've always tried to do my duty, sir, you reply. Well, he says, since we're here, let's go over what you've been up to, Corporal Calvin. He looks over a note again. First and foremost, well done on taking Jerry captive. That is an extraordinary stroke of good soldiering, and the general staff will be delighted to learn of your initiative. You look very pleased with yourself to hear this, and the captain picks up on it. You should be happy, son. You've done a good thing. Then he pauses for a second to let that sink in before dropping a bombshell of a good kind. It means you're going home. This has been an exceptionally bloody affair. This little mess on the Somme, and we need some good news for the home front. A Tommy who single-handedly takes German prisoners in the name of king and country is just such the thing. No doubt you dreamed of England the entire time, and pined for your sweetheart, and longed for the beauties of home. He's paraphrasing the propaganda shown to the civilian market. So you're in luck. You're on the next steamship back to Blighty. You laugh out loud. Congratulations, Sergeant, the captain says, handing you a new stripe. You've earned yourself a field promotion. Thank you, sir, you say. As the captain talks, your mind turns momentarily back to the conversation you had with Perkins when you first arrived. You came here to prove to people back home that you weren't a coward. You really don't need to prove yourself anymore in that regard. Sergeant Calvin. Oh, that's nice. Thinker 77 honors 3. Well, Sergeant Calvin, the captain says, get on with it. He slaps you on the back and then waits for you to salute, before walking on to the next man a few yards further down to repeat the process. You watch the captain make his way. Don't get up. He clearly motions as he approaches the man. You can say what you want about a lawyer turned infantry officer, but at least he seems to know how to be considerate. You're going home. You gather your gear as quickly as possible and then catch a train back to the coast and to the steamship across the channel. It's the same route you took over here 6 months earlier, only in reverse, and the return trip certainly brings back some memories. Looking back, but also looking forward, you take some time on the train to pen a letter to your sweetheart telling her that you're coming. Then, you sit back to sightsee a little as you pass through the French countryside. Unfortunately, there's not much to look at from a moving train. On the board of SS Laurentic a week later, steaming from the coast of France towards western Britain, you spy something interesting. A squadron of zeppelins rise above the horizon, their massive shapes clearly discernible among the dark clouds of the channel. Excited seamen mill about the railings trying to get a better look at the airships. You know there's nothing you can personally do about them, but you also can't take your eyes off them since they are bombers on their way to England. The warranty steams away soon enough, and the Zeppelins disappear from sight. Not, however, before the ship uses its modern wireless to transmit information about the sighting to shore defenses. You never learn the result. Whatever happens is kept secret. Thanks for playing. This is the last scene of your time on the Somme. Nice! So we won, pretty much. A century later, we can look back at what you achieved, Sergeant Calvin. You were honored for meritorious conduct by receiving the Distinguished Conduct Medal. You were wounded once. Your real legacy, however, has nothing to do with firing a weapon in anger. You see, you left your mark on history because of the single act you did that caused you to stand out from the proverbial crowd. There is a famous sketch of the Somme battlefield from just before the start of hostilities. It's drawn from the vantage point of the church steeple in Alfapiomega, and it shows the two sides' trenches sneaking away across the chalky rural landscape. Trees are in full bloom, and the hamlets, woods and farms are clearly identifiable. Men and material gather ominously in the foreground, however. In one corner is a mischievous-looking Tommy identified as Brown, and historians refer to the whole sketch as the Brown sketch, in honor of the otherwise unknown infantryman grinning at the sight of his presumed death. About 10 years ago, a gallery exhibit of wartime artwork opened in New York. The curators sifted through the material on hand and eventually settled on the Brown sketch for the frontispiece of their catalogue, noting that the sketch was significant both because of the historical portrait it offered, but also because it was a splendid example of self-taught infantryman artwork. More significantly, they were able to announce that they had definitely established authorship of the Brown sketch through painstaking research. They announced your name to the world. We hope you enjoyed playing the Somme Trench. We release new games on a regular basis. So I hope you guys enjoyed this playthrough. I'm quite surprised how this ended. We ended the Sergeant Calvin, Fighter 40, Thinker 77, and Doer 45. We have honors 3. Presumably there's a lot more to this game. There should be whole career paths that we haven't taken. We went with the one of Stretcher Bearer and we survived. So what more could one ask from surviving such a hell than to return home safely with, I guess, a simple wound that will heal in time. On my leg, I mean, not in the soul of the people who actually fought in the Somme. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, let me know. I would like to hear about your opinion of the game, and who knows, maybe I will do another playthrough, but we will take a different approach. However, this one was probably the closest to what I would do than any other that the game presented. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and join me next time for some more games.